Hello everybody. So today I got a little project where I don't have any place to store stuff. My shop is super tiny and I have this little shed that's on the back of our garage.
But it's oddly sized. It's 20 feet long, but it's narrow at about 4 feet. Also, the door's pretty tiny at 26 inches wide. This ends up making it difficult to use for normal storage, and I end up throwing stuff in it pretty willy-nilly, and in the end, it's a big disaster. So I think I want to add a long lumber and possibly metal rack. That'll get stuff off the floor and more organized and so that I can get them out when I need them. There's a bunch of ways I could do this. There's off-the-shelf lumber racks that you can get. They're kind of expensive though. I could make my own out of metal, which would be great because I love busting out the welder. But in the end, I want to do this fast and with materials I have on hand. So I've got a bunch of 2x4s and I can make a bunch of shelf bracket things. I don't know, fingers, arms, not really sure what to call them. In any case, this is me starting to make those brackets. There were a couple of ways that I could have attached these brackets to the studs. In the end, I decided on pocket screws because they're easy. Now, this may seem like not the brightest idea because it may not be strong enough, but I think we'll be okay for a couple of reasons. One is that I'm using big and beefy pocket hole screws. You can see here on the bottom, these are the ones I've been using, these brown ones. The second is that the brackets themselves aren't very long because the width of the shed is so narrow. So there's not a whole lot of weight, nor is there much torque that's being applied to them. The third thing is that the shed has studs every 16 inches on center, and I'm planning on using every stud. So any weight carried by the shelves will be distributed amongst a lot of these shelf brackets. I guess I'm going to call them brackets for now. And lastly, I can add some extra support by making triangles out of plywood.
The one thing about this is I need to make all these shelves obviously parallel.
So since I like to play with toys, about maybe 20 years ago, I bought a laser level. I haven't really used it. So let's go see if we can find that and see if it works. Oh, that's not good. All right, so let's see. Does it work? Look like there's a laser. All right, works.
It's a little hard to see, but right there's the laser line. The laser line ended up not being level, mainly because I think I set it up wrong. So I ended up using a regular level to transfer the line all the way down the shed. So this is the first test of some boards on the shelf. It seems to be holding quite well, although I was a little bit concerned. And tapping along here, hanging on it a little bit. Seemed pretty rock solid. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do these triangular support pieces, but I tried them anyway, at least on this first row. Originally I was going to put the triangles underneath each of the brackets, sort of in a more traditional support piece position. Unfortunately, I didn't want them to interfere with loading the wood up from the rack below it, so I ended up trying this sort of attaching them onto the sides bit. To be perfectly honest, it didn't really make that much of a difference, so in the end, I didn't use any more of these triangles.
Okay, so it's another day. Need to finish putting up 2 sets of shelves since I did 2 yesterday. But the first thing I'm gonna do is set up a little bit more light because, to be frank, it's too darn dark in here. All right, here we go.
Ooh, and thankfully this was a stacking problem, not a problem with the shelves. After making sure that the drill works okay, away we go.
All right, it's another day. So still trying to figure out how I'm going to deal with the rest of this area. So if we look over here, I've got some shelves here on the left, and then I have this door, and then over here there's a space. I'm thinking maybe I want to put the sort of sheet goods back here, like I could drag it through, but unfortunately there is a little bit more space here on that wall, right over there, to add some more lumber racketness to it. And if I span the door, then I have quite a bit more. And I might want to do that because you can see here is I've got a ton more wood. And then I'm probably going to want to put some metal in here and stuff too, once I get all this rest of this junk out of here. Anybody want a set of stairs for an RV? Okay, so I'm going to clean this up and sort of see what happens.
In the end, I ended up going with just more brackets to make more shelves. I made them in line with the brackets on the other side of the door so that I could just take really long pieces and span that whole doorway. Okay, so here it is in all its glory. I got all the long goods on the left. I have some sheet goods on the right. You can see the floor, you can walk through. It's actually turned out to be a great project. Oh yeah, and I got lights in here too. I actually built this about 3 years ago in the height of the pandemic. So after 3 years and a lot of wood and metal that's been moved on and off of it, it's held up wonderfully. I don't have any worries about how strong these brackets are. I think because the shelves are so small and because there's so many of them. Well, that's my spiffy new shed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, here's my latest upload. And if you have any requests or comments, please leave them below. I'd love to hear from you. And lastly, please subscribe if you think I've earned it. Thanks. See you in the next one.